Lovers, how you doing? It's Frank and Bianca here, bringing you another tortoise video, my little buddy Aoki. And in this video I wanted to mainly cover what to do if your tortoise is sick. Basically precautions you could take to prevent your tortoise from becoming sick. Or there's a lot of new tortoise owners out there that really don't know, maybe this will apply to some people that have had their tortoise for a long time. I've had my guy going on 6 years and he's never been sick once. Maybe we can make an exception for a few times, little tiny little things, but other than that, my guy has been perfect. And I wanted to make this video on precautions you could take and what are the signs if your tortoise is sick and how he can get sick and what to do to prevent it. First off, I want to start by saying the number one thing you should always check for is red flags in your Russian tortoise. Now, red flags in your Russian tortoise, I went over this a few times in some of my videos, but if you haven't seen that video, maybe this video will help you and enlighten you. Red flags for if your tortoise is sickness. Now, I have a Russian tortoise, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to touch his head. You see how he moved in? That means he's alert. Now, if he didn't respond at all, if he was just still, you see him moving his head around, he's sniffing around, and he's alert. That's the number one sign you want to check for, that your tortoise is alert. If your tortoise isn't moving at all, there's something wrong with him. He could be dehydrated or sick. Okay, another red flag is deformity of the shell. For instance, if your tortoise is pyramiding. If your tortoise was pyramiding, you would see like big giant lumps on his shell. See how my guy's shell is smooth? You would see big pyramidings, big lumps. It look nasty. Now, you would notice that right away because you got to really mistreat your tortoise in order for it to get some pyramiding. And that's pyramiding is caused by not enough vitamin D, not the right amount of nutrition. So always keep your tortoise well fed. Another red flag is on the outer rim of his shell. Look for deformity and for colored, like different colors, like red spots, just abnormal colors you wouldn't see in a tortoise's shell. And that's another big red flag that you want to look out for. Make sure you don't see any of those on your tortoise's shell. And again, you don't want his eyes to be glossy and webbed or watery and running, especially his mouth. That means he's parasitic. He's full of parasites. So you need to watch out for those. Those are the red flags to look out for. The positive things, that your tortoise is active, he's eating, he's alert. Those are the positive signs. His poop's solid and hard. It's not real runny or there's not no white things in there, and it's not coming out like dried and like with kind of like a yellowish tint. You don't want that in your tortoise. You want him to stay hydrated, so always offer him water. I soak my guy in water, if not every day, every other day, and he's been healthy. And that could prevent him getting sick. Now, if your tortoise does get sick, if your little guy gets sick and all these red flags occur and you don't know what it is, I suggest have some money always saved up, put to the side just for your tortoise. You can take him to a local vet. I'm not saying all veterinarians treat tortoises, but I'm pretty sure there's one in your county or in your city, in your area. Just take him there, and it's probably about, I think, $30 for a checkup, and then they diagnose your tortoise. They'll tell you what's wrong. And if you don't have money for that, that's why you always got to make sure your tortoise is healthy. At least twice a week, feed your tortoise aloe vera. There's a lot of nutrients and vitamins and minerals inside of aloe vera that are really helpful for your tortoise. And again, just feed your tortoise daily. If anything, if you're out of town for 2 days, you're going to have to leave a water dish inside of your enclosure for your tortoise to go in there. Most people, I don't want to get into that. A lot of people leave water dishes in their enclosure. You can look at my other videos why I explain I don't do that. But, a good thing, if you're going to go out of town, make sure you have water in your enclosure and feed them really good before you leave out of town. Now, sorry about that. Now, another thing is to avoid him getting sick, spot clean your enclosure. Mine's a little messy right now. It's winter. This guy's restless. But what I mean by spot clean your enclosure, go around your enclosure. Look for maybe poop or old lettuce leaves. Look around for poop, or say he just peed on a spot. Scoop up that spot, take it out. Because I spot clean daily. If you don't spot clean your enclosure, I guarantee you that poop is sitting there. It's going to attract gnats, it's going to attract parasites. And what does that lead to? That leads to your little guy getting sick. You don't want that. So make sure you spot clean your enclosure daily. Make sure you stay on top of that. And also look around for maybe ants or bugs or whatever. Get all that out of your enclosure for your little guy won't get sick. Avoid anything possible that will lead to your tortoise getting sick. So you don't have to deal with that. Make sure he's hydrated all the time, that you're giving him water, that he's drinking, and always make sure you have your lights. At least 14 to 13 hours a day. If you don't have these lights on, your tortoise could get sick. He's in the dark. A lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna get my tortoise, I'm gonna just put him in a tank. They don't think about lighting, nothing. They put him in there. Make sure your tortoise is taken care of, for he won't get sick, for nothing will happen to him. That's what I do. I'm always feeding my little guy different things: clovers, dandelions, spring mix lettuce, cabbage occasionally, yellow squash, watermelon every few weeks because the water content in it is really good for them. Just avoid mushrooms. That's like definitely a no. That's poisonous. But if you don't want your tortoise to get sick, just spot clean your enclosure. Keep him hydrated, and your guy won't get sick. I guarantee it. If you're spot cleaning your enclosure, you're making sure it's not filthy or dirty, your little guy won't get sick. Nothing's gonna happen to him. Make sure he's hydrated and well kept, and he'll be good to go. And you don't have to worry about him being sick. But before you buy your tortoise, if you're a first-time tortoise owner and you're looking to buy a tortoise, do your research on the tortoise that you're gonna get. And some people say don't order tortoises offline. There's a couple good sites out there like tortoise breeders. Like there's this guy, you can find him on YouTube. His name's Camp Kennan. He sells tortoises from Florida, and you see all his videos on YouTube. He keeps his tortoises well kept. I'm not saying all online dealers are like that, but some are bad. But I suggest you check out the tortoise, especially if you're going to go buy it from a reptile shop or even Petco or PetSmart, which I don't suggest. But if you're going to go buy your tortoise, make sure you go to get it. Don't send somebody. Don't send your parents or your friend or your girlfriend or your husband, wife. You go yourself and inspect the tortoise. Pick it up, hold it, make sure it's alert, make sure, he looks healthy, it doesn't look tired, or look for the red flags before you purchase that tortoise. Make sure it is healthy. That's really essential, because you don't want to bring a sick tortoise into your household, especially if you got kids around, elderly people. If you have a weak immune system, that could be bad. So make sure you check your tortoise to see if he's sick before you purchase him. And other than that, you should be A-okay. And another thing, a lot of people like to put 3 to 4 tortoises, 2 tortoises inside of their enclosure. I don't do that. That could lead to parasites. You're mixing different males together. And, tortoises in the wild, they hardly come across each other. They're really secluded. Tortoises, they're always in their burrow. They're not very active in the wild. They just search for food and water, and that's their day. They never cross each other and hang out, because they could give each other parasites. Now, if you have an outdoor enclosure, that's a different story, because, they have a lot of room and area to roam around and to stay away from each other. Now, you can mix a male and a female tortoise, but you're supposed to have, I think it's 3 female tortoises to 1 male tortoise. And I wouldn't do that unless you're looking to breed your tortoise, because I guarantee you, once mating season comes along, your tortoise he's going to try to get some. And that female tortoise is going to get pregnant. She's going to have some hatchlings. He's going to keep trying to go for her. And that could lead to them biting each other, flipping each other over. And, so to be safe, on the safe side, just have yourself 1 tortoise. If you're going to have 2 tortoises, have them in different enclosures. And other than that, that's my advice to you. And I hope you like this video. And thank you for watching.